Good evening and welcome to Midnight Movie Club. In tonight's video we will be discussing the news Grudge that is grudging its way into theatres January 3rd, 2020. So it has been a minute since we've heard any news at all on this new Grudge entry that is being produced by Sam Raimi and directed by Nicholas Pesk. I think the last video I done here in the channel about it was the news that broke telling us that it was being pushed back to January, which may have been a bad sign considering January horrors never work out too well. Bye man. Hopefully this one is different. But today we got some very interesting news over on Bloody Disgusting. We got a really big reveal along with brand new images from the film, along with some interesting bits of information from a commentary with the director Nicholas Pesk. So I thought we could all take a look at it and have a chat about it. There's also a couple more images from Entertainment Weekly that are decent looking, so I thought we could dissect them a wee bit. So without further ado, let's get into it. So Bloody Disgusting tell us that the studio is describing this new Grudge as a reimagining of the horror classic. They then highlight a new image of Lynn Shay from the movie, in where she is standing in a kitchen with a knife soaked in blood splatter. And by the sounds of it, it sounds like she may have murdered someone. As we read on here, we hear from the director Nicholas Pesk that he thinks a big motif in this movie and previous Grudge films is that each character is going through something horrific in their real everyday lives that is grounded in realistic and not supernatural before they even step foot in the Grudge house. He then goes on to say what they do in the film is show that the supernatural can be terrifying, but what's even more terrifying is what it can make you do to yourself. So to me it sounds like we will be seeing a lot of the consequences of being targeted by this spirit and what it makes you do rather than what it does. He then goes on to talk about this specific image, saying at this moment with Lynn Shay, where I don't want to reveal too much, but this is sort of the consequences of what the Grudge has made her do. So I think it's safe to assume here that Shay has killed someone or something, maybe even a pet, because she thought they were the spirit or because the spirit made her do it. Either way, Shay looks pretty mental and I really liked her in the Insidious movies, so I'm looking forward to seeing what she can do here. Pesk then finishes this segment by saying this image is at the height of her Grudge-induced madness. Now moving over to the Entertainment Weekly stills, we have our first one here that shows Damien Bashir's character in a car reaching out towards something, maybe a supernatural vision, as he looks pretty distressed, while behind him we see one of the film's spirits leaving a bloody handprint on his window as they look like they are screaming. It's a nice looking image, composition and lighting look good, and the makeup on the girl in the back looks decent from what we can see too. I do believe that is Tara Westwood we see, who is playing a character named Fiona. In the next shot we see who I think is that same character, Fiona, on top of Lynn Shay's character screaming in her face. It is a pretty typical horror movie thing, having a creepy girl climb over you in bed, but it still looks decent, and this may be this spirit pushing Shay's character to do what she does in the first image we took a look at today. And I'm just wondering if this character of Fiona, if that is her, is she this Grudge film's Grudge spirit? Now along with these images we got some more plot details with some more quotes from the director. Entertainment Weekly tells us that Andrea Riseborough plays a cop in a new town who comes across a seemingly unexplainable case that leads her to a house that, and this is in the director's own words, has been grudged. I really hope at some point in the movie someone doesn't say, "This house has been grudged," as that just sounds cheesy as fuck. But still, let's move on to what else Pesk told us. We follow her, Riseborough's character, as well as two other storylines that are all interacting with this grudged house in small town America. Like the old films, it's a tapestry of 3 different stories that interweave and all take place at slightly different times, centred on this one house that's at the centre of this case that this cop is working. So I take it the 3 stories we follow are that of Riseborough's cop character, Damien Bashir and Lynn Shay's character. Why is it them who are connected to this grudged house? We have no idea yet. So now for the big reveal. This is probably what you're all still watching for and most interested in, so here it is. This Grudge is not a remake and it is not a sequel. This Grudge takes place at the same time the 2004 American film does. Now this has really piqued my interest in the film a lot more. Pesk told the site that this movie takes place at the exact same time that Sarah Michelle Gellar's Grudge takes place in Tokyo. So Sarah Michelle Gellar is doing her thing in Japan and this is what's happening in America at the same time. So maybe that spirit we've seen in the stills, that Fiona character, maybe it isn't Fiona or maybe she is the Grudge spirit and we will not be getting the same look to the spirit as we've seen in previous films. Pesk then continued saying, so for people who know the old movies, American and Japanese, super well, they'll see fun ways that we've connected it into the mythology and into the story and storylines that existed, while still making a totally separate story that for all the people who haven't seen the Grudge movies, this will still make sense to them. And I reckon that's a really good way to go about it. It is its own film but still connected to the lore from previous films, and I'm sure there will be plenty of Easter eggs throughout for big eagle-eyed fans to spot. So after hearing all this, I'm still a little on the fence about this movie, as I was never a huge fan of The Grudge to begin with. I liked the Japanese original, and the 2004 film was okay to an extent, but all the others I just couldn't really care for. As I've said before, the girl with the long black hair thing doesn't freak me out much, but hopefully here they can twist it a little and give us something newer and fresher. I'm really keeping an eye on this film mainly because Raimi is attached and it has such a stacked cast. Also, it's R-rated and that's never been a bad thing. Plus, hearing this has made it a little more interesting to me, but I'm curious as to what big fans of the franchise think about this. I think I'm going to go back and watch all of the Grudge movies again just to refresh myself on them. Let me know if you would like any reviews of any of them. But let me know all of your thoughts on this in the comments section down below and I'll catch you down there for a chat until my next video. If you enjoyed this video then give it a wee like, and if you haven't already then what are you doing? Subscribe to join the club. As always, thank you very much for watching and good night.